In the early months of 2020, a palpable sense of dread settled across the nation. The airwaves hummed with news of a novel virus, spreading with alarming speed and forcing countries into lockdown. For frontline healthcare workers, this abstract threat was a stark daily reality. They faced the pandemic with dwindling supplies of personal protective equipment, or PPE. Hospitals reported dire shortages of masks, gowns, and gloves, the basic armor needed to fight this invisible enemy. The government, under immense pressure to act, launched a frantic, unprecedented procurement effort to secure these essential items from anywhere and everywhere, creating a chaotic global race for survival. This desperate scramble set the stage for one of the most contentious episodes of the pandemic response. The normal, painstaking rules of public procurement, designed to ensure fairness and value for taxpayer money, were cast aside in the name of speed. The government argued that the urgency of the situation demanded swift, decisive action, and that bypassing standard procedures was a necessary evil to get equipment to the front lines. It was a period defined by a singular goal to equip the National Health Service at any cost, a decision that would have far-reaching and controversial consequences for years to come. Amid this high-stakes environment, a separate unofficial channel for processing offers began to take shape. It became known as the high-priority lane, or more colloquially, the VIP lane. This route was established in March 2020 to handle procurement leads that came from sources deemed credible, such as government officials, ministers, members of parliament, and senior civil servants. The stated intention was to fast-track promising offers and cut through the bureaucratic red tape that was slowing down the acquisition of life-saving supplies during a national emergency. The core idea was to separate the wheat from the chaff. With thousands of unsolicited offers flooding government inboxes every day, officials needed a way to prioritize. The VIP lane was presented as that filter, a mechanism to ensure that referrals from trusted political and official contacts were given immediate attention. However, this system inadvertently created a two-tier process, where who you knew could matter just as much as what you could supply, setting the stage for intense scrutiny and allegations of cronyism that would later engulf the entire procurement program. The mechanics of the VIP lane were straightforward yet opaque. When a company was referred by a politician or a senior official, its bid was funneled into a separate, expedited process. This meant that while thousands of other potential suppliers languished in a general inbox, often waiting weeks for a response, those with connections were ushered to the front of the line. Their proposals were examined by dedicated teams, giving them a significant advantage. This special treatment was not disclosed to the public at the time, operating in the shadows of the government's hurried procurement decisions. A timeline of events shows just how quickly this system became entrenched. Following the establishment of the lane, in March 2020, a flurry of contracts were awarded to companies with little to no prior experience in manufacturing or supplying medical equipment. Some were newly formed businesses, others were specialists in entirely different fields: pest control, financial services. Key decisions to award these multi-million-pound contracts were made rapidly, often without the competitive tendering process that is standard practice for public spending, a departure justified by emergency regulations. The key players involved were a mix of government departments, civil servants, and the companies that benefited from the priority access: the Cabinet Office, the Department of Health and Social Care. Investigations later identified numerous firms that had been referred by prominent political figures. The approval process for these VIP bids was significantly truncated. Standard due diligence checks on company finances, company history, manufacturing capabilities were either minimized or skipped entirely in the rush to secure supplies, a critical failure in the system. This lack of rigorous vetting led to predictable and disastrous outcomes. While some VIP lane suppliers did deliver usable PPE, a significant number of contracts resulted in failure. Huge orders for masks, gowns arrived that were not fit for purpose, failing to meet the stringent safety standards required for use in clinical settings. In some instances, equipment worth hundreds of millions of pounds was ultimately deemed unusable. This not only represented a staggering waste of public money, but also failed to deliver the promised protection to the frontline workers who were risking their lives every day. The fallout from the VIP lanes operation prompted multiple official inquiries. The National Audit Office, the UK's independent public spending watchdog, published a damning report in November 2020. The NAO concluded companies in the high-priority lane were more than 10 times more likely to win contracts than those in the ordinary channel. The report highlighted a lack of transparency, a failure to properly document key decisions, like why certain companies were chosen, creating an accountability gap. The beneficiaries were the companies that secured lucrative contracts. Many firms, some with direct links to political donors and figures within the ruling party, saw enormous financial windfalls. For some, profits soared into the tens of millions from contracts awarded without competition. In stark contrast, credible and experienced PPE suppliers were ignored. Their offers, submitted through standard channels, went unanswered. They watched inexperienced newcomers with political connections secure massive government deals. Further evidence came from legal challenges and investigative journalism, piecing together the paper trail. Court rulings found the government had acted unlawfully by failing to publish contract details in a timely way, shrouding spending in secrecy. The Good Law Project, a non-profit campaign group, brought judicial reviews forcing disclosure of documents that revealed preferential treatment. These legal battles kept the issue in the public eye. Investigations painted a troubling picture, where fairness and value for money were secondary to speed and connections. The government said officials had worked tirelessly under pressure to save lives, but the evidence pointed to a flawed, inequitable process. Lack of clear criteria, poor record-keeping and preferential access led to billions of pounds being spent on contracts that often failed to deliver essential equipment to frontline workers. The tangible harm caused by the VIP lane scandal was felt most acutely by frontline staff. Healthcare workers, social care workers. They faced inadequate or non-existent PPE, leading to widespread fear and anxiety. Nurses wearing bin bags as makeshift gowns, nurses reusing single-use masks became stark symbols of failure. Physical danger to staff, deep psychological toll. Many felt abandoned. Their safety was compromised by procurement failures. Beyond that, the scandal corroded public trust. Government awarding huge contracts to friends to donors while ordinary people sacrificed deeply. One rule for them, another for us, damaged faith in institutions and sparked public anger. Protesters with signs demanding accountability, billions wasted on unusable equipment, a direct loss to taxpayers' money that could have funded vital services. The affair is now a case study in failed emergency spending. Calls for reform and tighter procurement rules followed. A legacy of suspicion will make future procurement subject to intense scrutiny. Rebuilding trust will take time and real transparency. Speed is essential in a crisis, but it must not replace core principles. Due diligence, transparency, fairness. Emergency procedures must include robust, non-negotiable safeguards. Clear rules, simple rules, publicly accessible rules. All bids must face rigorous safety and quality checks. An independent, swift audit must hold people accountable. Protection of lives and the public purse must come first.